Yeah, please.
This may be more pertinent to countries like India.
Yeah.
You are talking about using the automobile as a source of data which is going to the city planners or anybody.
Right.
In a place like India, we need the city planning data to come to the car.
Yeah.
Because even if you take a Google map and find out what is the shortest way, when you actually drive, you will find that today it is a one-way. Today
Right.
it has gone this way. There is a metro rail coming, or maybe a minister coming, whatever it is.
Right.
Now, if that information is available,
yeah, yeah, and that information will be available. Right, that's a good point. So again, these are very good examples of that are absolutely locally relevant. So you wake up in the morning and you go at say 7:30 to work, but there's already been 1 hour of traffic that's gone by in the morning from 6:30 to 7:30, and that's enough hundreds of thousands of cars that have actually encountered this one way. And if 10% of those people are incentivized to provide this data because they get a tax break or something else, you have that information in front of you. So Google Maps, for a change, Chennai can be faster than Google and say, well, Google is great, but now on top of that, you're laying the Chennai relevant traffic information that says here are the one-ways that have just happened over the last, been enforced overnight, and therefore, your path home, your path to work is going to be different. You're absolutely right. So again, I think toolkits being placed in the hands of people developers who want to develop that can start doing it very, very soon.
One final
Okay.
Here's an interesting side in the sense that when individuals are themselves can use their cells and share the information.
Yeah.
Why should we build extra hardware into the cars to do things? So that will also come into picture.
Yeah. So I think the car manufacturers have all the evolutionary survival reasons not to put anything more than they have to. Because otherwise they get extinct, right? So because you buy this latest and greatest car, you spend 5 lakhs, and your screen looks so old in 2 years. That's not a great state to be in. And then your resale value goes down. No one wants the car because it's got this awkward-looking old screen, and your latest something has a fancy screen. So I think there's evolutionary reasons why they won't put more than they need to. On the other hand, I think we all recognize that the smartest thing coming into the car from a computing standpoint is probably in your pocket or purse.
Yeah.
And so that's why we have this architecture called the built-in, brought-in, beamed-in architecture that allows the application programming interfaces in your car to talk to the ones that you bring in to talk to the cloud. So that part is already underway. What's not really been widely rolled out is the ability for third-party people to be able to contribute to that. And that's where the city data or somebody seeing, hey, I don't want any I want to be alerted to the probability that there's going to be a U-turn happening there, and therefore I'm going to take another path home. I think those kinds of applications are waiting to happen, if you will. Yeah. Go ahead, please. Oh, I think you had a question, please. I'll come right there. Go ahead. Yeah, please.
Dr. Prasad.
Yeah, I love questions that I don't like. Yeah. Maybe the microphone. Or you can see it. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. 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 I know.
And I was thinking if we can probably take lead from shipping industry, this concept like the stabilization of organization, perhaps build these personalized tools within mass transit.
Yeah.
To cater to what is
Right.
and the kind of connectivity and IT support that you're talking about to actually tell them, make you switch a hub off.
Yeah.
And here's where you interconnect with your
Sure.
Ford Figo, if you please, that
Right.
drop of points
Right,
that you
right.
do the last 2 kilometers
Yeah.
with
Right.
the regular automobiles.
Yeah.
So,
No, actually, I love that. It's not a question I don't like. It's part of the equation. Yeah.
so can one cater to the same kind of comfort levels that you're talking about, that phone and personalized transport,
Yeah.
without really offending the environmentalists and concerned for sustainability?
Yeah. I think there's always a trade-off. So if the moment you turn your air conditioning on, you already started creating a larger footprint than you did before you turned the AC on. So there's no question about that. Then you got to figure out how to compensate. Whether you go, turn a windmill and manually compensate. So obviously there's some personal comforts and some trade-offs. What we want to be able to do is to place the appropriate value options in front of the individuals and then incentivize rather than sort of penalize. So you incentivize someone who doesn't use AC gets something off, makes life a little easier for them, as opposed to just exclusively saying taxes for someone who uses AC. There might be a little bit of both, but again, I think policy is intrinsic to all this, to practice, and ultimately human beings are human beings. They're going to consume more often unless you sort of guide them and give them incentives not to consume. So I think there's a delicate balance, but I don't think they're mutually exclusive.
Right. I mean, I was just wondering whether it is possible at all, because I think the concept of comfort is so important in terms of the cocoon that you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I haven't really come across any mass transport system which talks about actually creating these configurable cocoons to cater to this kind of a requirement.
Yeah, Jay is right here. He maybe has the answer. So Jay works for Shockley. No, I think this is the dialogue and discussion that has to happen. But I think it's perfectly not in conflict with what we do. We just want to make sure that we're part of that. As I said in the beginning, we're a small component. The car is a small component of a much, much larger complex system, whether you slice it vertically or slice it horizontally. Thank you. I had a couple of questions there. I'm not sure if they're still there or they left, but otherwise we could certainly wrap.
Thank you for interesting talk. I mean, it was enjoyable. I have a couple of curiosity questions. The first one is Ford into the bottom of the pyramid cars or a transition car between a two-wheeler to a four-wheeler?
So we can't talk about future products necessarily because it doesn't, I might say something that might send a message that might imply that we are or we're not. So I think what I can speak about is how technologies are really changing and having an impact, and that's what I did. We are obviously here to create personal mobility as part of a much larger equation, as I said, whether it's walking or whether it's taking a bus or a bicycle or whether it's taking a three-wheeler or four-wheeler and more wheelers, if you will, buses. So I think I'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Okay. The second question is your car as a platform.
Yeah.
It's been around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're talking in terms of medical devices also as coming in. So what would be a strict no-no point, or would there be a threshold point beyond which you wouldn't want to get engaged in on a car as a platform?
A couple of points. One is I think car as a platform has been around for 9 years, right? That's old news. But technology as a platform on a car is relatively new news. So it's technology that goes at 100 kilometers an hour on a car that's new news. That's new. So once you create that technology, then the application of that technology can stretch out as wide as the market demands, as the creators want to, as the developers want to sort of add value to it. Obviously gated in the context of the automobile by safety, right? That will not be compromised. There's also aspects of security, especially with digital security coming in now. That also is something that we have to work collectively on. So there's all kinds of security aspects that are now emerging that were not relevant when things were not computed or connected. So if you had a laptop that had no connection, there was no question of worrying about security if you had no way to insert anything, but now there is security concern. And then there's privacy, usability, and reliability. So with safety, security, privacy, usability, and reliability, that's a mouthful. If you can handle all that, then of course the sky is the limit.
Is there a threshold point to which, say for example, you talked about some data of an individual who's there and your car is again connected to the cloud, the same thing that you talked about in terms of usability. Would you have some kind of a threshold point and say, beyond this, I may need to not venture in?
Well, again, I think as long as we're transparent and explicit about what it means, right? If you as an individual want to contribute that data, you're opting in, and we're not asking you this question while you're also driving on the road and trying to manage the traffic, I think it's fair game. We really want to be transparent and clear about what we are getting and what we're getting in return. Right? And this is we'll get used to it. The next generation is already used to it in terms of how they say yes or no to questions they get when they go to websites and other places. But obviously in our case, we want to do it when you're not driving. Thank you.
Token of our appreciation, I want to give a memento to Venkatesh.